Hello my lovelies, I hope you're all well. I know that you haven't seen me take a break because luckily I had recorded enough videos, but this is my first time filming for like 2 weeks because, well, first my daughter got sick, which came out of nowhere. And then we had a week off for school holidays. So yeah, I haven't been able to do any filming at all. So I'm looking forward to getting back into it. And today we got a fun one. So this is a criminal lawyer reacting to Amber Heard's attorney post-verdict shenanigans. So grab yourself something to drink, tease up sugars, and let's watch this. So we know the trial is over. We know that Johnny Depp, for all intents and purposes, won. Yes, the jury did find in favour for Amber Heard on one count of defamation, but she still has over £8 million to pay him. And from what I've seen, she is planning on appealing, but I don't think she's going to have the money to do it because her lawyers are saying that she can't afford to pay what she owes him and she would have to put up that money in order to appeal. So, unless Daddy Musk comes through and pays it for her, I think she's kind of screwed. But let's see what criminal lawyer Bruce Rivers has to say.
Virginia jury's decision to side with Johnny Depp in his defamation lawsuit is drawing both condemnation and praise. The verdict came after 6 weeks of very dramatic testimony from both sides. She claimed that he abused her while he said she was the abuser. In his reaction, Depp wrote, "The goal of bringing the case was to reveal the truth, and that truth never perishes."
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people talk about this notion that this has set the women's movement back or the Me Too movement back. The light of day is not going to put any movement back. Facts are what rule the day. And if a woman is to be believed, which they should be believed, but it should withstand scrutiny, and the facts got in the way of Amber Heard.
Yeah, 100%.
Elaine Charlson Bredehoff is the attorney for Amber Heard and is with us now. And we should mention, we did also reach out to Johnny Depp's team, but they declined to be interviewed this morning. Elaine, thank you. We're so very glad you're here.
Thank you.
We heard Amber's reaction to the verdict yesterday. This seems to be a huge victory for Johnny Depp this morning.
Yeah, a major setback for women, for women
Bullshit.
inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom.
Because
Basically what this said, you know, Amber had an enormous amount of evidence, although a lot of it was suppressed in this case as opposed to the UK. But look at all the women who have no evidence.
So Amber Heard had a lot of evidence. She didn't have any photographs of any injuries. And there were several rebuttal witnesses who completely contradicted her. And in fact, she didn't have really hardly any witnesses that corroborated her to a degree that she was discredited on rebuttal.
All these women who suffer from domestic violence, domestic abuse, they don't have evidence. And basically what this jury said is unless you pull out your cell phone and you tape record your spouse beating you.
That isn't what they said. There were so many things that were absolutely provably false. And I think that's, you know, remember what I said a while back? Falso in uno, falso in omnibus. If you're lying about one thing, you're lying about everything. That's the credibility.
That's basically what Camille said in her closing arguments, wasn't it? Was we know that she has lied at least twice during that trial. And if you believe that she's lied about some things, then basically you are free to not believe anything that she has said in that court. And I think that's what it came down to for the jury. She was not a reliable person. You know, provable lies, provable. And submitting doctored evidence. I mean, did she think people were stupid or what?
You're out of luck.
But Elaine, I think it was bigger than that because you had the evidence, as you say, but they did not believe her. Why do you think they did not believe her?
I think that
she's a liar.
Part of that was that it was Johnny Depp.
Not the facts of the case. No. It couldn't be that they shoved a bunch of rebuttal witnesses up her ass and completely contradicted her with facts. It has
Facts
nothing to
over
do
feelings.
with Johnny Depp. Why weren't there? She goes to the courthouse with a bruise on her face, supposedly 6 days after she had seen him with no makeup on, and she didn't set that up.
Of course she set it up.
I think the celebrity status.
But she's a celebrity too.
And it's not only not
she's
believing her.
but she's a celebrity too.
Right.
Here's the problem: you're on this losing side. To be honest with you, nothing can be gained by her making this appearance on TV. Honestly, I think it was smart for the Depp team to decline and not be public about this.
Absolutely.
I'm sure Johnny Depp says, "I don't want this. I don't want you to trash her. I don't want you to say anything about her." And now you've got Elaine kind of going
Digging a hole.
ham on Johnny Depp.
But you have to remember, we had
And she was the one that was like, oh, you're just here for your 15 minutes of fame. Right?
tale of two trials. All the evidence came in the UK.
That's not true.
Mr. Depp brought that one. The burden of proof was on the Sun.
And I can point you towards a really good channel if you want to look into the UK case. Check out Black Belt Barrister. So he is a UK lawyer, solicitor, and he has done videos breaking down what happened in the UK trial. And he actually has a petition to reopen the appeal. So check out Black Belt Barrister.
In the UK, because they had called him a wife beater and talked about the domestic violence.
See, in the UK, Amber Heard wasn't a defendant. So it just was, it's not really analogous
No,
at all.
not.
He had his opportunity to tell the truth then.
No, he didn't.
And
It
the
wasn't
3-week trial,
televised.
he lost. The judge found 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence. And that came out November 2, 2020. We weren't allowed to tell the jury that.
Well, it's a different system, and the judge, it wasn't a jury, it was a judge. The judge said it was
yeah.
substantial.
And it's a completely different set of...
And a lot of people have pointed out that there's a possible corruption situation with that judge as well. Apparently, his son has links to Rupert Murdoch, who owns the Sun newspaper. So there may have been a conflict of interest. I'm not saying which, definitely there is or there isn't. I don't know. But it's something that has come up since the UK trial. And that is why Black Belt Barrister has launched this petition, which last time I looked had quite a few thousand signatures. So fingers crossed we can get that appeal reopened. Whether Johnny wants it reopened or not, I don't know.
In terms of, you've got different parties. And whatever that verdict over there was has no bearing on what the jury is going to consider in this case.
True, and that is significant, and I think surprised a lot of legal analysts. But in this case, the jury not only didn't believe Amber Heard, but in ruling that she acted with actual malice, that means she had the intent to cause harm, right? That's a pretty high standard to have proven.
And it's pretty amazing since the op-ed never even mentioned Mr. Depp. You have to remember that. What they learned from the UK case.
The op-ed never even mentioned Mr. Depp. But didn't Amber Heard, in her testimony, she said it was about him. And then the jury believed her when she said that.
Is to demonize Amber, which is what they did, and to try to suppress as much of the evidence that came in the UK and did not come in the United States. But the other problem...
So, from what I've seen, the evidence that was quote-unquote suppressed in this case was... it was suppressed for a reason, because it was hearsay, basically. It was what she had told her therapist. And that's not reliable evidence. That's not factual evidence. That's just what you have told your therapist. It's not medical records, which they keep saying medical records. That's not medical records. That's you telling your therapist something, which is completely different. And that's the reason that they didn't allow it into evidence. And it's not like Depp's team were allowed to put everything in. They had their stuff suppressed as well.
We had cameras in the courtroom.
Good.
So here we had, not only did...
It's everybody's fault but mine.
Yeah.
We have a group of Depp fans that were there every day. 100 were allowed in. They lined up at 1 o'clock in the morning for their wristbands to be in that courtroom. But we had everything on camera, and we had tremendous social media that was very, very, very much against Amber.
It was pointed out that that was the first time that a victim of sexual abuse had to testify on live television.
And I fought hard and
She
lost
wasn't
that
the
battle.
victim, though.
It should not have happened.
Most laws about cameras in the courtroom, if one party wants them in, they come in.
So
And I'm glad they were,
I am
because
a
we got to
former
see it all.
NFL player, and after a hard loss, it's easy to wake up and point to the other side. Oftentimes, I realized the better thing to do was to look in the mirror. What mistakes did I make as a player? What mistakes did our coaching staff make? And then how can we improve from there? Do you feel like you guys made any mistakes along the way? Do you feel like
tons.
Amber made a mistake while she was on the stand?
She
Because
made a
you're saying
mistake
it's
by
the
lying.
celebrity, it's Johnny, it's the people who support him. But what about you and your team?
Now, that is an excellent point. And the thing about it is, it's really hard for somebody who charges about $6 million to defend Amber Heard to say they made a mistake.
Yeah.
And you sit there, if she's not going to self-snitch. I mean, that's just not what she's going to do.
Well, and that's an excellent question. And to say, and you know, Amber even said on the stand, I am not perfect.
Okay, let's blame Amber.
I am a human being. These people were giving her death threats. They threatened to microwave her baby. This is the kind of
That's
social
got
media
nothing
she
to
was
do
getting.
with-
So microwaving the baby is why you lost the case. That's something you did wrong?
So are any of us perfect? No. Is there something else we feel we should have done? Yes, I absolutely. I redo my closings 100 times afterwards, whether
Her
I win or
closings are a
lose.
mess.
That's part of being a good lawyer, a good trial lawyer is.
Right.
Bullshit. I don't redo my closing 100 times. If you literally redid your closing 100 times, guess what? You're indecisive and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Pardon my French.
There's always something. But I think that there were a lot of influences here that were beyond our
yeah,
control.
okay.
And I think the social media, it was like a Roman Colosseum. It is the best way to describe the atmosphere here. And I have to believe that the jury, even though they're told not to go and look at anything,
it's the jury's fault.
they have.
Like-
So now
Yeah,
it's the
it's the
jury's
jury's
fault
fault.
for looking at social media. So I mean, so it's the judge. It's Amber's imperfect. She's pointing any fingers back at herself. No.
Weekends, they have families, they have
Yeah, they were
social
not
media.
sequestered. They were not sequestered.
And the 10-day period we had, how could they not have been influenced?
But Elaine, for most people watching this trial, and a lot of people, as you know, it got huge views. It just seemed to be so messy and salacious and so tawdry on both sides. And I think for a lot of people from the outside looking in thought both of them were not telling the truth and that they mutually abused each other. Do you not believe that that was the case?
No, and that's one of the many misnomers. The way that Depp's team approached this was based on ignorance of domestic violence.
The way the Depp team approaches is to kick your ass.
It completely ignored the cycle of violence and just said, oh, she wouldn't have done this if he had been hitting her. That was their approach.
So you thought that they weren't fighting fair?
Correct. I don't think they were fighting fair.
And you think
Objection. 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 I'm trying here,
That was
Judge.
funny.
I'm trying.
That was funny.
I mean, what the hell?
Amber
Absolutely.
Heard is, in fact, a survivor of domestic violence?
Yes, I absolutely believe that, and there's a tremendous amount of evidence.
The problem that she could run into some defamation problems herself.
Yeah, exactly.
Much of which did not come into this trial, did come into the UK trial. We even had more evidence. We had medical records. We had mental health records that went back to 2012 that were contemporaneous. We had text messages from Mr. Depp's assistant saying, when I told him that he had kicked you, he cried.
So how
That
is she
didn't come
today,
in.
Elaine? How is she today? What
She's
is her
heartbroken.
next move?
She's right. Well, her next move is appeal. There were a
She's
number.
heartbroken.
She is.
She ain't gonna appeal it. She's worth what? -8 million.
She can't appeal.
She's donated $7 million synonymously with pledged to a couple charities, and now she owes 8.3. So she's worth the -8 million
she can't appeal.
and net worth. And so is she going to have to now put a bond up. She's going to have to put a bond up for at least $10 million plus. That's the amount of the judgment plus attorney's fees.
Is heartbroken, and one of the first things that she said when she came back from the verdict, when we went into the conference room, was, "I am so sorry to all these women." That's
she said that?
Yes, she felt like she had let down all of these women because she had.
Well, she did, because she used
a movement,
fake domestic abuse to further her ends.
Yep. 100%.
Had more evidence than most people do, and yet they still
evidence?
didn't believe her.
Elaine Charleston, Bredehoff, thank you so much for...
Pictures of Johnny Depp asleep on the floor or asleep in the chair or asleep with ice cream on him, and pictures of a bruised arm, and she said that she'd been attacked so badly her face was all messed up but she didn't take any pictures of her face. I don't understand what this mountain of evidence is that they keep going on about. What mountain of evidence? Like some bad text messages? Oh, big whoop, he says some bad words. That doesn't mean anything. Obviously, taking this aside, her net worth was only estimated to be about 2 million at most. So I don't know what she's done with all that divorce money, because she didn't give it to the charities. She has a house that is worth about $1 million in California. So honestly, I know that she can't pay that. She can't pay Johnny the 8.3 million. I don't see him going after the money, like, because he could go after all her future earnings. He could make her sell the house. He could do all that stuff to try and get this money. I think he just wanted the opportunity for everybody to see the truth. Not his truth, the truth, because that was the whole point of putting cameras in the courtroom. There were no cameras in the UK case. Obviously, some of it was videoed, but we didn't see the whole thing. It was not televised. It's not the norm here in the UK to televise trials. But I'm very, very glad that they were able to televise this trial, because we all got to see the truth with our own eyes and hear it with our own ears and make our own judgment call. And it appears that the vast majority of us agreed with what the jury came to. So there's that. I'm very happy for Johnny, and he's currently here in the UK doing a tour with Jeff Beck, and it's just nice to see him getting on with his life now, because everybody knows the truth. Anyway, make sure you head over to Bruce Rivers' channel, give him some love, because that was a funny video. And make sure you check out Black Belt Barrister as well. I'll link to both in the description box, as per usual. I always link to whoever I'm watching. But yeah, maybe go sign the petition to get the appeal reopened here in the UK, because that would be funny. And apparently she's also facing defamation, perjury. She's also facing perjury in Australia. So we'll see. I don't think this story is over just yet, but we'll see what happens. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that video. I'll see you very soon.